What up, traders? Time to change the color, change the mood. Let's get in my man. I've been missing him since we had to take a day off, and I can't blame the guy. He works so hard. Let's bring him on. The brains to this show, Chris Katje. What's up, dude? How you doing?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
Hey, it's good to have you back, man. I don't know about
Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I missed you yesterday. I was by myself trying to talk to myself, but it wasn't going the best. But hey, like always, it's good to have you back, brother.
I went back and watched it, and looks like you did okay, and I learned some stuff as well. So, we're always out there teaching each other. So thanks for holding the fort down while I was gone. Back today, so we got some deals to talk about today even too, on this Tuesday. So
yeah, we're going to do a lot today, guys. If you guys are just in tune, guys, we're going to go through the March SPACness. We're going to do the Final Four, and we're going to go even to the National SPAC Championship. I know you guys probably watched it last night, but you guys got to see who we got in the win today. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail, but I'm excited. Let me go ahead up and just kind of pull this up before we get into our headlines, because it's going to be fun. There's some great battles coming up. So if you like our March SPACness idea, definitely let us know who's going to win the battle. Will it be DraftKings? Will it be Butterfly? Will it be Desktop Meta? Or the one that will probably shake everybody, if it's Romeo Powers here taking the win? Let's see what happens today. All right, but before we get into that, let's get into everybody's favorite part, where you go ahead and get your information today, and taking us back to the headlines.
All right, guys. Yeah, so up first on headlines today, we have SBG. That's Sandbridge, the company taking Owlet public. So we, of course, had the founder of Owlet, Kurt Workman, on the show not too long ago. So earnings out last night from Owlet reported full year revenue of $75.4 million, up 51% year over year. Gross margin 47.6% compared to 46% the previous year. And Workman out talking about that new online platform, Dream Lab, and the continued growth of the Owlet Cam in 2020, and then more catalysts coming into 2021. And then, of course, Sandbridge also highlighting the addition of Zane Burke, the former CEO of Livongo, joining the board of directors, as they look to boost that digital health and telehealth platform for Owlet going forward. So keep an eye out on that one, ticker SBG. Then another one we've been talking about a lot lately, we have Playboy. That's PLBY. This company is transforming itself. It went public as, trying to shift away from the magazine business that so many people knew the brand for. They were going to focus on, sexual wellness and health. Now the company is going all in on NFTs. It has been very vocal about its, archive of content that can be made into NFTs. So shares are trading higher today. They announced that Nifty Gateway is partnering with them to create a digital art collaboration on Nifty Gateway's blockchain-powered marketplace. So no surprise here. Again, they had talked about getting into NFTs. Nifty Gateway, a large name in the space. So shares are trading higher. This is positive news. This one continues to run. As you see that chart, who would have thought that Playboy would be one of the best performing de-SPACs of 2021? This one got, not much interest when that deal was announced, not much interest through the deal process. And then as soon as the NFT talk started, this one started to heat up, and I have several articles out about this on the site, and I have to agree, they do have a large library of content. They also want to do the NFT business, on their own instead of just licensing out their content. So this partnership with Nifty Gateway looks to be the start of that. So keep an eye out on Playboy here. And then we have a couple ratings upgrades here. So we have MILE. That's Metro Mile. Piper Sandler initiates with overweight, a price target of $15. So keep an eye out on this one. This one is backed by Mark Cuban. Also has Chamath in on that pipe. Pay per mile, interesting growth name going forward, getting some love out there from analysts. Then we have GNOG, Golden Nugget Online, one we've talked about a lot, getting a buy rating and a $28 price target from Jefferies this morning. So again, as we look at March Madness and the growth of sports betting, GNOG is one that's focused, on the iGaming side and also the sports betting side. Shares are up 12% today, on that call from Jefferies. So getting some nice momentum here. So we'll see what happens when maybe some of these numbers are reported from March Madness or some of these states that Golden Nugget operates in, to see if we can keep that momentum going forward, in this high growth but highly competitive sports betting and iGaming market. Then one of our other big movers today, and of course we're going to get into it with March SPACness, but we have Romeo Power, RMO, rocketing higher today. Again, this one got hammered last week after reported earnings and then also lowering their guidance for the current fiscal year. I do own shares of RMO. So shares are up big today. They extended their partnership with PACCAR, a global technology leader in the medium and heavy duty trucks, brands such as Kenworth and Peterbilt. So this is one of the, the largest and most well-known semi companies in the U.S. So Romeo is going to supply batteries for several of those new semis for the U.S. and Canada through 2025. So it says the start of production is anticipated to begin after 2021. So again, this is a extension. It's not a new partner, but it does extend a current deal that they had. And it's important to note that the key there is this is taking place after 2021. So as I said, Romeo Power, issued that lower guidance for 2021. This new deal with PACCAR this morning is not going to change that 2021 guidance, I don't believe, as this revenue is going to come, after that time. But again, as Mitch and I have both said, with Romeo and some of these battery companies, you might have to look a little forward out, who's getting the deals, who's supplying these large companies, and what does the, framework look like a couple years down the road. But RMO showing a nice move today on that news. And we have BFLY, so Butterfly Network, which again, we're going to talk about during March SPACness today. This is a top performer. So more shares added to ARK funds yesterday. Kathy Wood and her team have been a big buyer in this company, which has a portable ultrasound. CEO Jonathan Rothberg also out with a tweet talking about how Butterfly Network's device is going to be on a SpaceX rocket and go to the International Space Station. So the crew is going to test the Butterfly IQ ultrasound device used in conjunction with a mobile computing device in the space environment. So not only are we seeing, these portable ultrasounds help hospitals with their costs from not having to, transport bulky equipment around, they can also help in emerging markets that don't have the money or the infrastructure for the large ultrasound machines. And now you possibly have this device being able to work in space, which, as we see the growth of space going forward, could be a big thing in the future. Our big movers yesterday, no surprise, DMYD up 41%, hitting all-time highs on that NFL exclusive deal. I know Mitch talked about that one yesterday. DMYD merging with Genius Sports, getting that NFL deal, and obviously shares rocketing higher on that exclusive deal. And then also TDAC up 7%, taking lottery.com public. But they also announced that they have the sports.com domain and plan to enter the sports betting market. So again, investors reacting to that news and the possible catalyst there of what can they do with that sports.com domain? How can they monetize it? How can they get into the sports betting market? This is an interesting chart Mitch has up there. So TDAC, they had that, that rumor with lottery.com for a long time. Then they had the definitive agreement, but they didn't issue a presentation. And then finally that presentation came out last week. Shares started moving higher again. And then now we have, the not only the lottery.com, but also the sports.com. This is an exciting one going forward. We're trying to get someone from the team to come on one of our shows because I know there's been some comments out there in the chat. People want to hear about this one, which is a good sign. So to me, TDAC on my watch list going forward. And then we had one rumor yesterday. So MRAC is in talks with Enjoy, which is a company that operates retail stores for Apple, AT&T, BT, and Rogers. So mostly phone companies. So the retail side of things, this MRAC SPAC is backed by the Chicago Cubs owner and also the Rain Group. Not a lot of details. And again, this is a rumor, but this is out from Bloomberg, which has been pretty spot on with SPAC rumors, as you guys know. But shares, of course, selling off now on that rumor. And then we had 2 deals announced this morning. So we have ticker ROT going public, taking Sarcos Robotics, a leader in mobile industrial robotic systems, to enable the workforce of the future, talking about productivity. So this is a pipe of $220 million backed by some pretty strong names. We have BlackRock, we have Palantir, we have Caterpillar, Schlumberger, Jaws Estates Capital, so some decent names. And then they also have a deal with Delta Airlines. So they're expecting to release their Guardian Exo full body wearable industrial exoskeleton robot in mid-2022. And then, more robots in the future. So again, talking about productivity with these exoskeletons, and the SPAC deal helping to power the financials that they need. But they're looking at all kinds of industries: aerospace, automotive, logistics, defense, oil and gas, power, and utilities, calling it a $147 billion market just in the U.S. alone. So they're going to operate with a robotics as a service solution, and they already have key strategic partners, including several Fortune 100 companies. As I said, Delta Airlines, highlighted in the announcement today. So this one, you're going to have to wait a little bit for revenue. So revenue of $9 million this year in fiscal 2021, $22 million in fiscal 2022, and then we expand after that. This deal valuing the company at $1.3 billion. So this one, again, you're paying for the growth up front. So, I don't anticipate this one to do much more running today after that deal announcement. The other big announcement today, and this is the one that I could see running over the next couple of days. So we have ticker MUDS, bringing Topps back to the public market. So Topps is one of the most well-known trading card companies. If you ever collected cards as a kid, like myself, you know the Topps name well. Topps dates back to, the 50s, the 1952 Mickey Mantle card, that continues to set new records as we see the growth of, trading card values from these auctions. So they announced this deal. Michael Eisner is going to stay as the chairman of Topps. He's currently the chair there, and he is the former CEO of the Walt Disney Company. So current shareholders of ticker MUDS will own 28% of the company after the merger. That's a pretty good chunk. So Topps is best known for its trading cards, but also they have digital trading cards, and they have a digital gift card business and a confections business. The confections business includes Bazooka, Ring Pop, and some other candy brands. Topps has deals with the NFL, or it has deals with MLB and NHL, Formula One, WWE, Disney, so Star Wars and Marvel, several soccer leagues. They don't currently have deals with NFL or NBA, but I think that's worth watching because it's of note in the presentation that the Milwaukee Bucks owner is joining the board of directors for Topps. So keep an eye out on that as we see an NBA owner get added. Maybe we could see some NBA cards in the future from Topps or a partnership. But Topps is going hard right now on digital cards and then also NFTs. So their Topps Now segment features, recent moments. So like a player's first home run, there was a Tigers player the other day who got a Topps Now card of his first ever home run. We also saw a Topps Now card with Bernie Sanders in those mittens at the Joe Biden inauguration. Sold over 100,000 units. And they're only available one time through the Topps website. So expanding that digital presence. And then also NFTs. So Topps has released Garbage Pail Kids and Godzilla NFTs. And they say that their spring summer 2021 release pipeline of NFTs is strong, and more details will be coming in the future. Revenue of $567 million in fiscal 2020, up 23%. EBITDA of $92 million. So last year, revenue was 55% physical cards, 6% digital cards, 4% gift cards, and 35% confections. E-commerce sales made up 30% of the business. Revenue estimates of $692 million for fiscal 2021 and $777 million for fiscal 2022. Shares were up this morning. They're starting to move again. This one to me, so we're up 11%. Over $11. To me, this one looks similar to a possible Playboy, where you have a well-known brand, high revenue, profitability, and now they're getting into NFTs. So I think this one has room to run, and I'll be curious to see what the next couple of days bring. And then turning to our calendar, we have no votes scheduled on my calendar for this week, but we do have some rounding out the rest of April. So that's what I've got today. What do you think, Mitch? That Topps deal, very exciting, and again, up 11%. So we're seeing a decent move for a SPAC announcement today. And, given the interest in NFTs and that well-known brand, I think this one might have more room to run.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've actually owned Topps cards myself. I mean, I'm kind of really upset. I don't want to get into it, but I lost them in a storage war kind of situation. So I can at least say that, guys. But I had so many good cards that I'm going to always regret. I had a game-worn jersey from Ichiro that I literally spent $300 just trying to get this one pack. They were coming out with game-used jersey pieces on their cards. And then so that was very interesting. That's when I thought they were starting to change. They were starting to change it just being just a card, a regular card, and trying to be more limited edition. And let's go to the website here. So one of the things that I noticed, and I noticed right off the top, was they kind of gave you some insight here that on March 31st, they were coming out with this NFT. That could have gave you some insight that maybe they were looking for a SPAC acquisition. If they were coming with the NFT, they were probably going to go ahead and attack the public investment game here. And that could have gave you the insight. So always look for little signs like this. If I would have saw a tweet like this over the weekend that this could possibly be a SPAC, if I would have saw NFT attached to it, I probably would have been thinking, yeah, this could be a potential.
What do you think, Mitch? So, they already have an existing board of directors, but then they announced today that they're adding a couple people. So Topps has deals with baseball and hockey of the four major sports, but they add a owner from the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks owner, to the board of directors. Do you think that was strategic or just, brush it aside?
Well, you mentioned it well, and I'm sure a lot of people got kind of like a little flag there going off. And really what it is that there's no reason why Topps shouldn't have a deal with those two leagues, and if that's really going to come down to it, if they want to really step up their game, I think you see that coming out also. And so look for that deal to be happening in the next couple of, I would say, even weeks. But one of the things that I'd mention is that, Topps is all about collectibles. And really, we talked about it. In the pandemic, collectibles went booming and they're back in favor. There was a while there that, having art, baseball cards, whatever it wasn't really taking off here. And now you really do have a chance. I might have to go for my Derek Jeter card. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Derek Jeter card.
That's right.
But definitely, you see they have their wall art, they have other things, they have Topps Authentics, where you can get, like, let's say, autographed memorabilia. It's not just a card company. I know a lot of people are going to just put it to that, but they're starting to step in different areas. Look at your Funko. Even a Funko on their website,
We got Baby Yoda there, and that's another key point from me here, Mitch, is you already have an existing relationship with Disney, right? They make Star Wars cards, they make Marvel cards, and Michael Eisner, who was the CEO of Walt Disney Company for several years, he's the chairman of Topps. So to me, I got to think that relationship with Disney is strong. And when we talk about NFTs, there's so many companies, talking about NFTs or exploring NFTs. And some of them, it's just drawings or, videos that aren't licensed by the actual companies. Here you have a company like Topps that can do, NFTs from Disney because they have the license. Same as I talked about with Funko, right? So when you want to look at the companies that could win long-term with NFTs, I think Topps is one of them because of those established deals. So, Garbage Pail Kids, Godzilla might not jump off the page as these huge NFTs, but they were successful. The Garbage Pail Kids ones, brought in a decent amount of money. And now if they're going to do, sports NFTs and, some Star Wars NFTs, what a great time to go public to really capitalize on that, in my opinion here.
All right, guys, I'll get off other baseball cards before I start buying some. I was already starting to pull the wallet out. I was like, yeah, the Gary Sheffield, that was my favorite.
I know, doesn't it
take
you back?
Up.
And that's the thing, with cards during the pandemic, there's so much interest. Everyone's, doing, going through their old cards, finding those valuable ones. And we're seeing these record-breaking deals, for some of these older cards. And Topps doesn't necessarily make money off of, auctions for an old Topps card, right? It already sold. But they're making money because people are returning to the market. They're buying new Topps cards. And then also that shift to digital cards where maybe they can make revenue off of each transaction, in the NFT market can build that, residual revenue for them.
Yeah, guys, one of the things that is being mentioned out in the chat, that Topps has been a kind of a undervalued company for so long. But one of the things is pandemic can change all that. And one of the things that you've seen certain companies go to levels that it doesn't make sense. So don't think that this can't be one of those that can go to levels where it doesn't make sense. And so that's why I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I definitely think there's going to be some interest. The NFT game out of their business is kind of like purely intended for their business. You couldn't say it would be more directly correlated than with baseball cards, or kind of even like you saw Star Wars, they're starting to get into. There's definitely going to be more and more that people are going to want. And the really question is, does the collectibles keep growing? Do we still get that boom in the collectibles? I think that's what you got to pay attention to. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into our favorite time of the day. Let's get into the March SPACness. All right, guys. So one of the things that we've been doing, guys, is we've been doing this National SPAC Championship, this bracket that we did. At the end of the day, it was just for fun. But if you guys enjoyed it, definitely let us know in the comments below, or give us a good like button there. We appreciate it there. And definitely, if you can do us a favor, hit the share button down below. Let everyone know the National SPAC Championship is on today. We're going to get through the Final Four and get to the championship. But let's go ahead and let's get right into it. First up first, we're going to have a battle of all battles here. This is going to be Romeo versus Desktop Metals here, guys. So what do you think, Chris?
All right, guys, I hope we're ready to vote out there. So we're going to just get through the rest of this tournament, right? We saw Baylor win last night, knocking off undefeated Gonzaga. So press 1 for Romeo, 2 for Desktop Metal. This is an interesting matchup. And again, I do own shares of RMO, but this company has been beaten down with that guidance. We're talking about which stock's going to perform best from, the start of this tournament till the end of 2021. for me, I think Romeo might be a year away from really turning the corner, getting that guidance, adjusted. That new PACCAR deal today. Desktop Metal, in a competitive market, 3D printing, there is some other companies coming public in that space. But, to me, I guess I got to vote for Desktop Metal here because I think they end up having the better 2021. I think Romeo is just out of favor here, and it's going to be until 2022 that we really see shares come back. What do you think, Mitch?
Well, one of the things is these are two companies that have a lot of potential. All right. And so one of the things that I'd mentioned first is for Romeo Power, it's all about the partnerships. And we ran into supply issues there, but the partnership still exists, guys. And so that's one thing I definitely keep on mind is I've seen those partnerships. I've seen the companies they work with. If they can get their supply issue together, they can meet that demand out there. That's definitely out there, as you see from their partnerships. Now with Desktop Metals, I mean, you're talking about a company that was really looked great upon, when it first rocketed up. And one of the things I'd mentioned here is I think, there's a transition here. These are two plays that are kind of the new generational plays moving forward. And you're talking about battery plays going into electric vehicles, and you're talking about some kind of 3D manufacturing. And so one of the things that I pay attention to is how are we going to get towards the next level and what is more important first? And so I think at the end of the day, we've already had our kind of supply issues, and you can see the supply chains kind of getting hurt here. So with that being said, I think the demand is more needed for Desktop Metals than it is for Romeo Powers right now today. And so with that being said, I say, Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder, yes, we can. So yes. I'll go with, I'll be putting that one. Yes, we can.
It looks like Desktop Metal getting the votes. So Bob the Builder is moving on.
Bob the Builder moving on, guys. Desktop Metals gets the win. You guys already know we're moving on with Desktop Metals into the finals here. Let me go ahead and just fill this in here for us. Oh, I got the click here. Hold on.
All right, guys. So while Mitch is getting that in there, our other matchup here today. So, and again, talk about, 4 great companies left at the end here. Over on the right-hand side, we have a blockbuster matchup. We have DKNG, that's DraftKings, sports betting, iGaming, a leader in terms of number of states. And then we have BFLY, BFLY, as you heard me say the top of the show, portable ultrasound, backed by Bill Gates, Bailey Gifford, founded by Jonathan Rothberg, who's bringing several companies public via SPAC. You also have Kathy Wood and ARK Funds grabbing tons of shares of BFLY, but also grabbing shares of DraftKings as their lone sports betting company that they own. And BFLY going to space, right? A portable ultrasound now heading all the way up to space. This is a huge matchup. I love both of these companies long term. I'll be curious to see what the chat says. So, press 1 for DraftKings, 2 for BFLY. I don't know, Mitch. What do you think before I make my vote here and we get all these votes tallied up?
Yeah, one of the things that I'd say is that this was a competition of 2 companies that I think are in different areas. And so one of the things is DKNG, I think, is just making moves, not based off of the business structure, but based off of the revenue and TAM in the market. So what is available out there in the gambling market? That's why I think DKNG is doing well. It's not because it's the best company in the gambling space. At least that's what I would say when I would look at the company. But with that being said, there's more states coming, right? And so with that more states coming comes that money, and money gets things moving. And so that's why I would have to say when I'm looking at BFLY, I just see the technology needing to be adopted, needing to be purchased. And DraftKings is a little bit different. it's kind of an adaptation and legalization. I think it's easier to get up than it is for BFLY to continue moving forward. So I would say this is money, baby. This is money, 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 money.
Yeah, you know, Mitch, you hit on part of what I was going to say. I'm going to piggyback off of that. So DraftKings has, you know, that first mover advantage with already having the daily fantasy players. So when a new state opens up, DraftKings isn't competing with anyone. They're just entering a new market, and they're able to, you know, just go all in. Butterfly is competing against existing ultrasound companies, right? So some of these emerging markets, you know, they may be able to buy these portable ultrasounds because they didn't already have one. But your large hospitals that already have bulky ultrasound machines, are they going to rush out to buy the portable one? Maybe not. So it could be a year or two away from, you know, that huge growth. Do I think Butterfly wins long term? I do. And I got to believe in, you know, again, Kathy Wood, Bill Gates, Bailey Gifford, and even Jonathan Rothberg, the guy who founded this company. I'm a big believer in him. But to me, if we're looking just at 2021 with all the catalysts, as Mitch said, of new states coming, you know, and even if DraftKings doesn't get that revenue from those states this year, the share price is most likely going to reflect the future, right? So if New York legalizes, is DraftKings going to go up? Most likely, right? That's a catalyst. So to me, I have to think that DraftKings will be the better performing stock the rest of 2021. Mitch, did you look at these votes at all? I was seeing kind of split here.
Yeah, it looks kind of close there, guys. If you guys haven't voted yet, go ahead and press 1 or 2 to join in the chat. Let us know which one we need to know outright winner here, guys. So let us know what you're thinking. If you got a comment, also put it in the chat. We'll put it up. All right, guys. So I'm reading up here the chat, trying to count the votes here. It's kind of close here.
If there's no more votes, I think I have the tally, Mitch, and you won't believe it.
I'm pretty sure I'm seeing it, but not believing it. So much that I think I might have to like kind of change up here what I wrote down as a banner.
Yeah, if I tallied right, and we might have had a late minute entry there, but if I tallied right, I got 11-10 for DraftKings. But now I'm seeing more votes coming in. I saw 2 more ones. A 2, and then I saw Sean trying to vote for both.
Sean, it has to be the guy that gives us the 1 and 2.
So I don't know
12. So
I don't know if we count that for both or if we throw that out. But hey, I'd love to vote for both too. But unfortunately, someone's got to lose today. Someone's got to go home and pack their bags. So yeah, I think, Mitch, I'm seeing more 1s roll in. So I think we have to call it here for DraftKings.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm going to have to call it for DraftKings also. You know, at the end of the day, we're making moves. So I think I'm going to call it for DraftKings. It's going to be a hell of a battle here, guys. So we're talking DKNG versus DM in our national SPAC championship here. All right, let me close this up here. All right, guys. So we got our National SPAC Championship here, guys, and it's going to be interesting to watch to see who's going to win between DM and DKNG. You know, we worked our way back here. DKNG was a 1 seed, and Desktop Metal was also a 1 seed. So you're talking about some titans going at it here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead up and put the banner here: DM versus DKNG. And hold on. Some people are going to say I don't like DM because I put a lowercase n there. Let's go ahead and let's do it this way. So one of the things that I wanted to do here is while we talk about the 2 companies, you guys go ahead and start putting your votes. If you already got a vote, definitely press a 1 or 2 to join in there. But I wanted to do something a little bit different before we get a little too far from it. So one of the things that I wanted to do here is actually pull up their website. Why not pull up their website here, see a little bit what they have here going on. Let me accept some cookies here so they can go ahead and get my information. But we're talking right here, 3D printing, guys, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue moving forward. We're talking Desktop Metals here, and it's something that is been needed before, and I think it wasn't pushed, but I think the pandemic kind of pushed this a little bit forward. What do you think here, Chris?
Yeah, I think 3D printing, right? And we heard 3D printing several years ago, right? And we saw these 3D printing companies, rocket higher. To me, this isn't 3D printing where you buy it for your house and you make, toys, or small items out of it. This is additive manufacturing. So we're talking about revolutionizing the industrial, factory, the workplace, right? Where instead of, making these huge, items for planes, for cars, you're able to actually print them, from a 3D printer with different materials that can save cost. They can help with energy, right? So when you talk about cars and planes, you want cheap and you want, energy efficient. So if Desktop Metal and, competitors as well can make it more efficient, they're going to win long term. So to me, with Desktop Metal, again, it's the timeline. How quick does this win? And also the thing that really struck me on their last earnings report was they also are entering the healthcare field, right? So they're working on 3D printing, health items. I think it was orthodontics they talked about, right? So anyone who has kids, you may have seen a mold before, right? Of teeth that's 3D printed and it shows your kid's teeth. Desktop Metal also getting into that space, and on the other side, DraftKings, but here Desktop Metal, and also worth noting here, Mitch, Kathy Wood and ARK Funds owns both of these companies, right? One's in the 3D printing ETF and DraftKings is in a couple other ARK ETFs. So to me, Desktop Metal has a very exciting future. I think 3D printing, when you talk additive manufacturing and industrial, I think is going to be a high growth area going forward. What do you think about Desktop Metal? I think the old mute trick there.
The old damn mute trick.
Every time.
One thing I'd say about Desktop Metals is that, what is the alternative here? And I think that's what you need to ask yourself. If the alternative is not using 3D to kind of get these printing and get that mass production, then it is actually us doing the manufacturing. And that's just way too expensive. And so that we've been looking for ways to get these manufacturing, these designs down packed. And so you're seeing right here all the availability, manufacturing, heavy industry, machine, like Chris mentioned, education, consumer goods, automotive. There's just so many fields that they can get into. And then what happens is that I think certain fields are going to adapt faster than others. And then you'll see their revenue increase in those certain fields. I honestly am blown away by these 3D companies because there's so many of them, but they all have great projections. And so one of the things that I'd say is that it's probably meaning that the industry as a whole is going to become a massive industry. And so keep your eye on these, whether it be Desktop Metal. I mean, we could talk about others in the SPACs, but definitely on my radar. Let's go ahead and let's get into some DraftKings here. I know a lot of people are talking already in the chat. Let me go ahead and catch up here. Let me see some of the chat here. So it's Rick House saying DM is the future. So it's going to be interesting here. 3D printing human organs. I don't know if they're doing that yet, but if they're going to do it,
I don't think they're doing that yet, but it's definitely coming in the space. So who knows? And Desktop Metal has been a company that has acquired several other smaller companies. So now that Desktop Metal is public, we could really see, the M&A space ramp up for 3D printing. So what's to stop Desktop Metal from, expanding, some of these other areas by the acquisition route?
Yeah, someone talking about space use for 3D printing. DM isn't really there just yet, but I could see them stepping into the field.
So that's going to be highly competitive. There's several 3D printing companies working with space companies, and I think maybe long term that could be, an area. But to me, I think Desktop Metal, being involved with these industrial partners, is a bigger deal than going to space right now.
Yeah, I've seen the printing of the organs, but the question is, will DM be in that? And that was my kind of question more along here. So that's why I brought that up. Let's get into some DraftKings. So one of the things I want to talk about, guys, and I'll bring up the website here so you guys can see a little bit more, is of course bonuses bringing the attention. And then look, this is what I always talk about, guys. This is the most important thing. State by state, you're gonna start seeing this chart turn green, guys. These states are going to slowly go green. I think you'll see Florida go green. You're going to start seeing multiple states trying to push towards it because it's really, at least in my understanding, there's no reason why sports betting should be illegal. If I can go buy a gun, if I can go to war, if I can do all this, why can't I sports gamble in my home, in my hometown? I don't need to be flying out to Vegas. I can just do it from home. And that's why I love
look at that green
Colorado.
Out there. Look at that green out
lonely,
west.
Who's
that lonely state out there?
We need some help out here. We need some help, so that's going to be interesting. Of course, DraftKings has their pools where you're going to go ahead and play. You can do anything from football games to your favorite shows. They got promotions. They have missions. They have over 10 million registered users, $7 billion already paid out, and the #1 rating sports app here. It's going to be interesting. I know they stepped up from their original fantasy kind of move, and I think they kind of were thinking of ways around sports betting at first. And they'll probably kill me for this one, but they were working their way around sports betting first by doing fantasy. And then when it became legal and they were able to do it, they just jumped on the horse,
and props to them, because what a way to gain potential customers. And they're already doing it, right? You look at all those gray states. What is DraftKings? And their competitor FanDuel, what do they have in those gray states already? They have an existing user base that already use DraftKings and FanDuel for daily fantasy. So when those states turn green, all they have to do is flip on the app, send out an email and a promotion, right, to all these customers, and then they get them to bet on sports and not just do daily fantasy. I saw it firsthand here in Michigan, right? As soon as we went legalized, DraftKings, sends out the email. I had already done daily fantasy with DraftKings. They sent me an email. Hey, you like sports? I bet you like to bet on sports too, right? It's that easy. And Mitch, they're doing the same thing in Canada, right? They launched daily fantasy in Canada, and Canada's working on legalizing sports betting similar to the US, where it would be province by province. DraftKings is going to have a head start there. This is a highly competitive market. There's over a dozen companies, right, with sports betting and iGaming, but really there's 3 or 4 that stand out and dominate in terms of market share. DraftKings is one of them, and DraftKings is in more states than any of the competitors. So to me, that's a key advantage, going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch the competition between the gambling companies. But one thing that has been said is that DraftKings is what I call kind of that spender, that cash cow, willing to spend in the industry to make it to wherever they need to make it. So it's kind of like a perfect example, I would say, to compare to DraftKings, and it's completely different, but Netflix is a perfect example, because Netflix took it on themselves to say, hey, I know we're spending some cash, but we don't care because we need users first. Users is our first focus. We're going to get whatever content we need. We need to buy it. We need to make it, whatever it needs to be, but we're going to get our users, our base users. And once we grow that to a massive amount, then we can use that to monetize and kind of push towards profitability. But at first, it's about collecting the group, the users. And I think that's what you're starting to see with DraftKings. They're definitely collecting the users. And one of the things is, you're starting to see is that they use the right people. They use people like, let's say, my man Marshawn Lynch here, and they know how to get into your mind with the influencers, with the athletes. You guys see the commercials all the time on TV, whether it be kind of the guy from Suns, the Suns basketball team. What's his name? Booker. Devin I've seen him. Yep. Yeah, Devin Booker. He has commercials. So let's go ahead and let's give it to a vote now. Press 1 or 2. Join in, guys. The battle here is press 1 for DM, 2 for DKNG. Who's going to take it today? Who's going to take the national SPAC championship here? So let's see what happens here. What's going on in the chat? What are you seeing out there, Chris?
Guys, yeah, don't forget to vote. We've been talking about this matchup for a little while, but 1 for DM, 2 for DKNG. Mitch, compared to our last round of matchups that were, pretty close, I'm seeing more of a slant here towards DraftKings, with 2s getting more votes right now. So we'll wait a second for some more last minute votes, but otherwise I think we have a champion being crowned, in this first March SPACness tournament.
Well, Chris, we're going to have to see what happens, but it is looking like that is what's coming true here. So the only thing I would have to say is DKNG isn't here to celebrate, but this is all I'm seeing. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Winner, chicken dinner, baby. You already know it. DraftKings takes the national SPAC championship here, guys. We're going to have to get DKNG on here. I don't know if that dance we can do when they're on, but I might have to do it in the back, just like, woo, woo, woo.
There it is, guys. Your national champion. And Mitch, I think someone pointed out in the chat, if you pull that bracket back up, where was DraftKings located on that bracket? Because I believe it was it Baylor? Was that the top right?
It was the Baylor. It was Baylor. And they know it.
March SPACness going in line with the national championship. With Baylor, there it is. Happy Mohammed. Baylor with the 2x win. You got it. So DraftKings winning the tournament. And guys, I have to agree. We had some great companies in this. I hope everyone had fun doing this too. We talked about some great companies. We also talked about maybe some unknown or undervalued companies. Mitch, I know DMS, Digital Media Solutions, right? The advertising play that was in one of those early rounds. And we heard, John Janarone talk about it on the show a couple weeks ago. So to me, you've got 64 companies now that you can, dive into, do some more research, or you can look at our Final Four or the Elite Eight and really see what the chat and what, viewers out there are liking for 2021. And also some of the comments about maybe a couple years away. So maybe those are the ones that you put on a watch list or you stock aside in an IRA. So they're not going to win March SPACness this year, but maybe they win, down the road.
Yeah, we got a question here. What happened to SPACs, man? So this is a perfect example, guys. And what I've been trying to focus on now, guys, is the D-SPACs, the ones that have the revenues that I can look at, the ones that I can start judging a little bit more than just their board. And so I think you take a look at some of these companies, or you take a look at these SPACs, you start trying to get the valuation of where do you think it makes sense and where the price can kind of meet the revenues. Start looking to see kind of where the book values are. It's all about, it actually starts coming into fundamentals and how those actually align. DMS, definitely one to point out there. Another one that's been going off, HOFV did really great on this list. MP also showing up after a big pullback. So definitely keep your eyes on MP. You also got RSI on here, GNOG. Those are going to be interesting. We saw it. I don't know if you saw that article that Benzinga put out, Chris, about 500 times the percentage of people added the betting sites and betting apps.
Yeah, betting apps downloads soared during March Madness, right? And we saw this around Super Bowl time too, right? Major sporting events, they, of course, these betting sites, they offer more promotions, so it might not drop to the bottom line, but you're gaining customers for these major sporting events. So now, after March Madness, we drop off a little bit, right? We had baseball just start. We have NBA going. We'll get playoffs, eventually. We have hockey going. We'll get playoffs eventually. But until, football comes back, will we see downloads soar again? Or are we in the slower period for, customer acquisition? But, these states report numbers every month, and it's always interesting to see, what those numbers are and who the winners are. I know that's what I'm paying attention to in Michigan here is we had DraftKings, a big winner, and then also MGM with BetMGM, taking the second place, in the state in the early months. So very interesting. Yeah, and what happened to SPACs? I same thing Mitch said, that there's great SPACs out there. You got to look to some of these ones that have already gone public, they de-SPACed, and then start to circle those earnings dates on your calendar, right? Or if you have Benzinga Pro, it's right up there at the top, right? It says, RMO is set to report earnings in 13 days, and you come and you listen. And what did we get with RMO? They lowered guidance. So maybe that one, goes off your watch list or it goes on a long-term watch list. And then you have a company, like, DraftKings, DKNG, last time they reported earnings, what did they do? They raised their guidance. They're ahead of the numbers they put in their investor presentation. So now you're getting a really good look at, the company since it has gone public, and what they plan to do and how they plan to grow. So, the SPACs all get lumped together, but you really have to separate the short-term winners, the long-term winners, and the possible losers, just as you would with any stocks, any industry, right? If you're looking at, the oil market, there might be a couple winners, a couple losers. Do the research and separate them out and pick the winners.
All right. So, Chris, before we get on out of here, there's two major SPACs that I wanted to talk about. They're definitely trending on YouTube. So let's go ahead and touch them here. This is going to be North Genesis Acquisition Corp, NGA, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pull the ticker up here. Chris, what has been going on with NGA the last couple of weeks? What do you think about this chart and where do you think it is heading?
Yeah, and I saw someone in the chat as well ask about NGA. So Northern Genesis Acquisition, bringing Lion Electric public. This is one we've talked about where, they're an electric vehicle, electric bus company. They have some large deals in place, both in the US and in Canada. Late in March, they announced their largest truck order to date, 100 zero-emission trucks from Pride Group Enterprises. They've announced some battery deals, some bus deals. And, this is a play on infrastructure in the Biden administration as well. As we shift to electric vehicles, electric buses, Biden wants to get every single school bus in the U.S. electric in the future. NGA, Lion Electric, is one of the companies that's going to help do that. And they're also going to launch a factory here in the U.S. So as we talk about U.S. companies, they'll be able to compete for those markets and for those deals from the U.S. government, from those factories here in the U.S., but they also have that relationship in Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he toured their factories. He spoke about Lion Electric publicly. They're winning deals in Canada as well. And Canada, really aggressive with advancing the electric buses and electric vehicles. So I own shares of NGA. It's one of my long-term picks, Lion Electric, a winner down the road for sure.
All right. And there's one more here to mention, and that's Kenson Capital Acquisition Corp. Let me go ahead and paste this right here. So this is another one being talked about often on YouTube right now. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, so Kensington Capital Acquisition Corp, guys, if that name sounds familiar, and also the ticker KCAC, it is because this is the same SPAC group that took a different company public. This was QuantumScape, so QS now. So this is a strong management team, and you have the former CEO of Chrysler. You have the former CEO of Eco Motors. You also have a director from QuantumScape attached. So they're really focusing on the automotive market in North America. I have to believe they're going to go after something, electric or clean energy down the road, but great management team. And I really like this one, going forward.
Yeah, it looks like this is, I'm actually pulling up Kensington Capital Acquisition Corp 2 here, trading in units still by KCACU. So definitely keep your eyes on this one, guys. It's actually gotten down to close to $10 here. It's touched 1026. And now it's up there at 1050. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Definitely being mentioned on YouTube. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one, guys. And that's probably going to do it for us today. We got about 2 minutes left until the power hour, guys. So definitely, Chris, man, it's good to have you back. Good to be on the SPACs attack. And one of the things that I definitely let you guys know is if you guys hit him up, guys. Hit him up. The Chrisopedia is on Twitter, guys. So if you guys haven't hit him up, definitely check him out, guys. He does this every single day. You guys see the Twitter handle right there, Chris Katje. That's my man, the brains to the show.
Yeah,
so,
Mitch, someone in the chat was asking that last one. So Kensington Capital, yeah, it's KCACU. It is still trading in units. So, you know, KCACU is the ticker right now. If you're looking that up, but yeah, trading, you know, over $10 now, but this was one when it priced, it was right around $10. And with those units, you get a quarter of a warrant too. So nice upside there, nice protection around net asset value. And looking at that chart, this one's starting to, you know, really go higher. I think people are paying attention to strong management teams, right? And this is one that got QuantumScape done. QuantumScape was the highest share price of a SPAC in 2020. It hit over $100. So you have a management team there that got a good deal done that was well received by the market. So I think people anticipate the same. But Mitch, before we get out of here, we got to talk about tomorrow. So
dun, dun, dun.
We have an exciting show tomorrow, guys. And that's not to say we don't have exciting shows every day, because we do. We also bring on lots of guests, right? And we've been bringing on CEOs you know, since this show started. And tomorrow we have a returning guest. So we have CEO Matt Higgins coming back to talk about Omni-Channel Acquisition Corp. That's ticker OCA, which I do own shares of now. I bought after our last interview, trading at like $9.75 now or whatever. But Matt is bringing a friend back with him. So not only do we have Matt Higgins on the show tomorrow talking about OCA.
Since we got a minute here, and I don't see Luke up in here. Let's test the chat here. Who this person, and I'll give a little trivia here. This person wants to own the Jets.
That's a good clue. Anyone who knows this person is probably going to get it.
Know that one at least.
And if you watched our interview with Matt Higgins last time, you also may get this, because it's definitely has to do with OCA. So Matt is coming back. He's bringing a friend. What do you think, chat? Who's coming on the show tomorrow? We're super excited about this.
Well, it's the Shark Attack, but not that one.
So not anyone from Shark Tank. He was a guest judge on Shark. Oh, I think we might have
Roof. You might have to fix that one a little bit though, but I want to put you up, but you got to get his name right at least.
Keep misspell. Yeah, I think there we go. There's one.
There you go. And still not. Let's put the man's name right. I think let's help everybody out.
Now we're getting some.
There you go, Gary V.
That's right, guys. Gary Vaynerchuk joining us on SPACs Attack tomorrow. Holy cow. What a great guest we have coming. And again, we'll have Matt Higgins and Gary V talking about OCA. I'm super excited, Mitch. I know you are as well. I know you've followed Gary V, you know, for longer than I have, but super excited. What do you think?
Hey guys, I can tell you from a person that has gone to these speeches. I've gone to Tony Robbins, Gary V in one session. It was something unbelievable. Really got my motivation going. Probably why I'm here today, guys. You know, one of the things that I really learned is to really push on my own kind of goals and my establishment of what I wanted in my life. Took control. You could call it being an entrepreneur. Some people, you know, hey, you guys see me here on Benzinga, but at the end of the day, that's the way I work, guys. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a builder. I'm always trying to get to the next level, focusing on how I can better myself. And that's one of the best things that Gary V always stands for. So if you want to go ahead and get to towards the next level. See a great interview tomorrow, and definitely get to know more of OCA and Matt Higgins. Definitely check it out, guys. It's going to be tomorrow. That's OCA, ticker OCA. So that's going to be really fun, man. I'm super excited to see that.
And guys, you know, we always ask questions from the chat. So come back tomorrow, type those questions in, or hit Mitch or I up on Twitter, or comment on this video if you have questions, right? We're going to talk about OCA. We're going to hear all about why did Gary Vee attach himself to this SPAC? What is he looking for, right? We heard from Matt what he was looking for. We're going to hear, you know, more of that team dynamic, right? Matt talked about this great team that he had, but we're going to hear from Gary Vee and get the other side of things. So I'm super excited. So OCA, guys, don't miss the show tomorrow. Gary Vee and Matt Higgins joining us on SPACs Attack.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be looking fresh, man. My man, Gary Vee.
I think, yeah, you think the ties tomorrow, Mitch? I think probably.